Okay, so I'm going to California in September to meet with Dr. Richard Carrier. Guys, you see all the scholars on the thumbnail, and there's so much more. I couldn't fit it with my head exploding. There's so much more I want to do and bring on. I'm excited. You guys made this happen. We are MythVision. All the Patreon members will have early access to everything that I'm going to be talking about right now. So first things first, it's $3 a month. Join the Patreon, become a member of MythVision. It's really, really cheap. Anyone who denies that it's worth $3 a month, just move on, because that's what Patreon recommends. And I've got hundreds, I mean hundreds of content videos with Dr. Robert M. Price, and I'm about to with other people. Ian Mills, of course, I have Dragons and Genesis and stuff already right now. But I'm about to go and meet with Joel Baden, Professor Joel Baden, interview with him in person, try and get about 6 hours worth of content recording with him, videos that Patreon members can have questions asked. Professor John J. Collins, try and get a couple hours with him. He said he'd be willing to do in person, so the quality is going to be like high definition quality. Also, Dr. Richard Carrier, we got the GoFundMe for both of these going right now. I'll be doing 2 days of nonstop recording with Dr. Richard Carrier, in person, high quality, asking Patreon questions. So if you're a Patreon member, ask a good question and I'll record it when I go to visit him. The cool thing about this is there's two birds with one stone happening. At first it was John J. Collins and just Richard Carrier. Well, now it's John J. Collins and Joel Baden, Richard Carrier, and Dr. Dennis R. McDonald. So all these are doctors. I don't mean any disrespect. I'm just shortcutting to give you guys the gist. I'll be able to record with Dr. Dennis R. McDonald and Richard Carrier in person for multiple days each when I go to California. It's going to be like no other content out there. No one's doing this. Of course, I'm going to take some really good pictures of them too, because when you go on Google and look up people like Dr. Richard Carrier or Dr., let's say Joel Baden or whoever, you're going to have high definition images that you can use for thumbnails in the future and whatnot. So there's 4 scholars right there that are going to be early on my Patreon. So if you become a Patreon member, you will see all the videos that I edit with all of these 4 scholars early. If not, you can just wait your turn. And then when I launch it, and who knows how long that might take before that certain video gets out with that scholar, that's how it's going to roll. Now, I also have Dr. Michael Shermer coming up in May. The date is... and he's the guy who hosts Skeptic Magazine and also has a podcast. That date is the 17th of May. So on the 17th of May, I'm going to be interviewing with him. On the 5th of May, I'm interviewing with Dr. Bart Ehrman, because you guys made that GoFundMe possible. And Dr. Bart Ehrman will be coming on MythVision Podcast. We will be live. I believe I'm going to make that one live. I don't know yet, but either way, if it's not live, it'll be on Patreon early. I also have more coming up with Dr. Joshua Bowen. I've got Russell Gamirkin coming up. I've got other names that you're not quite familiar with yet that will be coming on. I'm going to meet with Dr. Joshua Bowen and his wife, Megan, with my wife. We're going to travel up there in person and do interviews with him. All that content will be on the Patreon. Early access. So if you guys want to help us out, join it. $3 a month is the minimum. That's like a cup of coffee. You know what I mean? Less than a cup of coffee if you go to Starbucks, which I'm fond of Starbucks, so I know exactly what it is. If you guys want to help us out more, there's also discounts if you want to just join the membership for a whole year and get early access to everything we launch. There's so much that I'm trying to do. I'm super excited. Elaine Pagels actually emailed me back, and we're going to be making stuff happen because thankfully I have more than just certain scholars on the channel. There's so much more that we're actually going to be able to reach more. I'm also trying to get a hold of Dr. Christine Hayes to try and make that possible because she is a genius, and I love listening to Dr. Christine Hayes. We have so much coming. I could give you, Mike Render, the co-host to Leah Remini, the Scientology Aftermath show, he's coming on this Thursday. That will be a blast. I cannot wait to do that with my good friend David Samuel. We're going to launch that thing, man. I think that thing's going to hit like 100,000 views at some point in the near distant future, if you will, a couple months maybe. I'm excited is the point. We're growing, we're making an impact. And MythVision is a niche that is very unique. No one is asking your questions to these scholars and trying to connect these scholars. So I'm trying to make that happen, and this is what I do here. I'm so thankful of everyone else's platforms. I just want to point out that what we're trying to do, I don't see anywhere out there in YouTube or on the web happening. I just don't see it happening. There's not enough in-person interviews with Dr. Richard Carrier. There's not enough in-person interviews with some of these scholars, and I've got the good quality camera gear, hardware for the audio, and we're going to hit it hard. So if you guys want to help with the GoFundMes to make that possible, down in the description. If you guys want to join the Patreon to get early access to everything, down in the description. If you have questions, you guys can email me. You can actually message me on my Patreon. I look for those and I screenshot them, and then I save them for the scholars. So when I meet them in person, I could say, Dr. Richard Carey, we have a question from Sally Sue. Sally Sue asks, is Marcion, da-da-da-da-da, and then Dr. Richard Carrier will address the question specifically from the Patreon members that help MythVision make this possible, and you guys will make history. So, sorry for the ramble and the funny thumbnail. I'm going to be launching another video today, right? So don't worry. I hope everyone sees this because I do want this thing to grow and I want to make this possible. But I'm going to launch another video today for the public. Be on the lookout. I just want you guys to be part of this. We're going to make history. Because who are we? We are MythVision.